It was the eyes that captivated me. Isn't that how it usually is in real life? When we see a curious pair of eyes looking back at us, we can't help but gaze back, sometimes to the point of staring impolitely. Good thing I was looking at a painting to save me from committing social faux pas. It was only a few seconds later when I noticed everything else around the eyes. I was looking at an homage to Amorsolo. A Filipino need not be familiar with the very painting the artist Temyong referenced in his homage, but any and every Filipino would almost think of Amorsolo, who trailblazed the theme of the Dalagang Pilipina Garden Filipiniana. In fact, that very design in her scarf and skirt comes straight from our very first national artist for visual arts. Knowing that Temyong's work was an homage to the father of Philippine art, I immediately assumed that the wood structure behind her was an easel that Temyong added to remind us that this is about a celebration of art. I was wrong. Marsala had the very same structure. So perhaps it's not so much about art, but the beautiful man-made garden creation. And speaking of man-made, our Amorsolo Dalagang Pilipina holds in her hand a pottery jar or banga, which has also become symbolic of Amorsolo's art. But instead of a jar, Temyong puts in her hand the ubiquitous Aqua Flask, a bottle. Of all the colors Aqua Flask has, Temyong chose brown to connect it to Amorsolo's pottery jar. But he doesn't discard the banga altogether by making a key holder out of it to decorate a quote-unquote signature eco bag. Not that I have seen all of Louis Vuitton's creations, but I can't recall seeing something similar. Our 21st century Dalagang Filipina is pulling out her aqua flask, perhaps not to drink from it, but to show her own. If she were to quench her thirst, she wouldn't have looped the strap around her wrist like that. She would free it to help her lift the bottle to her lips. What our Dalagang Filipina is really trying to do is show off her aqua flask. But why bother when everyone has one? Maybe to call the attention of aqua flask people, how they have a devoted fan in her and ultimately in Temyong. Our Dalagang Filipina is secretly enjoying her private joke. Look at her lips. Look at her eyes again. We started with her eyes, and it's just proper that we end with her eyes. She's confident in looking at us, unlike a Morsolo's maiden who doesn't even look at us. Although our 21st century Filipino woman is trying to show us her aqua flask, we just can't help but pour all our attention into her eyes that have hollowed underneath for lack of sleep, but the brightness and alertness are still there. Mapansin-sana ng aqua flask ang effort nila ni Temyong, or better yet, mapansin-sana ng estate ni Amorsolo, the love Temyong has for the legend. Amorsolo is essential. Art is essential.